Yo, what's cracking everyone? I'm Harrison FB and welcome to my very own presentation on the history of Disney. Join me on a journey as I take you back to where it all began. Right off the bat in the first part, we'll discover where the famous Walt Disney himself grew up and brought to life one of the most famous characters we still know of today. Walt Disney was born on December 5th, 1901, 8 years after his brother Ron. His father, Elias, was an Irish-Canadian, and his mother, Flora Cole, was of German-American descent. He became one of 5 children, which consisted of 4 boys and a girl. Raised on a farm near Marceline, Walt became interested in drawing, and he sold his first sketches to neighbors when he was only 7 years old. He then attended McKinley High School in Chicago, where he divided his attention between drawing and photography, contributing both to the school paper. He even attended the Academy of Fine Arts at night. In the fall of 1918, Walt attempted to enlist for military service, only to be rejected due to being 16 at the time. Instead, he joined the Red Cross and went overseas, spending a whole year driving an ambulance and chauffeuring Red Cross officials. His ambulance was covered from stem to stern, with drawings and cartoons around it. How crazy is that? He returned to Kansas City in Missouri after the war, beginning his career as an advertising cartoonist. There, in 1920, he made his first original animated cartoons and later perfected a new method for combining live action and animation together. Walt arrived in California in 1923 and released a cartoon he made when he was in Kansas City called Alice's Wonderland. It became his pilot film to sell a series of Alice comedies to a distributor. After being successful, M.J. Winkler from New York contracted to distribute the series on October 16th, bringing the Walt Disney Company, originally known as Disney Brothers Cartoon Studio, to life and creating 56 silent cartoons. Roy suggested the name as the Walt Disney Studio. The 1st of March 1924 was the release of the first Alice comedy short, Alice's Day at Sea. It featured a mixture of live action and animated segments. But 3 years later, Walt moved on after deciding to move instead to an old cartoon series. Walt married one of his first employees, Lillian Bounds, who was credited with naming Mickey Mouse, in Lewiston, Idaho in 1925. They would later have 2 daughters, Diane, who would marry Ron Miller, and Sharon Disney Lund. The Disney brothers moved to their new studio at 2719 Hyperion in January 1926. They brought Oswald the Lucky Rabbit to life in his own cartoon on September 5th, 1927, who would then have 26 shorts. But the iconic Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse were introduced to the world in Steamboat Willie, released at the Colony Theatre in New York on November 18th, 1928. Before this, however, Mickey's talents were first used in a silent cartoon playing Crazy. But before that was released, sound burst into the motion picture screen. Walt originally wanted to name Mickey Mortimer Mouse, but his wife found it too depressing. I would think the same way. Walt's drive to art of animation perfection was endless. When Technicolor was introduced, he used it for the production of his silly symphonies, with the first one, The Skeleton Dance, being released on August 22nd, 1929. Walt felt too reliant on Mickey, hence why he came up with the series himself. A few months later, on December 16th, the Disney Brothers partnership was replaced by 4 companies: Walt Disney Productions LDT, Walt Disney Enterprises, Lyle Realty and Investment Company, and the Disney Film Recording Company. This was so they could focus on different enterprises, such as production, recording, and investment, among others. 1930 was the year the Mickey Mouse comic strip began, Pluto making his first appearance in the Chain Gang, although he didn't receive the name until The Moose Hunt in 1931, and the first Disney book based on Mickey was created. While the cartoons were getting popular, the Disney staff found out that merchandising the characters was an additional source of revenue. A man in New York offered Walt $300 to license Mickey Mouse, which led to various bits of merchandise, such as dolls, dishes, toothbrushes, etc., etc. In 1932, the first full-color cartoon and Academy Award winner, Flowers and Trees, was released. The first year the animated feature film category was introduced, and for the rest of that decade, a Disney cartoon won an Oscar every year, and an art school formed at the Disney studio to train animators. The Three Little Pigs was released in 1933 and also won an Academy Award, followed by the first ever Mickey Mouse watch being sold by Ingersoll. So that brings us to the end of part 1. Join me in part 2, where we'll uncover the arrival of Donald Duck all the way up to the grand opening of Disneyland.